are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
What is integrity? You know, integrity doing the right thing when nobody's looking, all right? You know, are you a leader or a follower? I'm a leader. What's the difference? Think for myself, all right? Do you have confidence? Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Levin podcast, where we're two queens with two perspectives. This your girl Mimi.
Hey, and it's your girl Mishi.
Yes, and class is now in session.
we are back.
We are back. Yes, we are.
And thank you everyone for your attendance today. Have you recovered from that last lesson?
Barely, child, but we're gonna make it. Yeah, that one took a lot out of me, but yeah. What about yourself?
I feel the same exact way. So classmates, if you haven't already, make sure you're tapped into lesson plan number 3. We discussed August Alsina, his life journey to enlightenment. It was a great lesson for me because you truly learn from others' experiences. Now we're talking about Jada. She done drug us to the red table.
Honestly, a lot of people have been anticipating this red table talk for a minute ever since August did his interview with Angela Yee. And
right.
He spoke on their relationship. So, of course, everyone was eager and curious to find out what was Jada and Will's take on it, you know, because they hadn't, released any, they claimed there were claims that they released information, right. But they said
they released no statement from their camp.
They released no statements, that everything that was put out there was not from them directly. So they wanted that to be clear. So,
but I have a question: who gave them clearance to put out statements? Then,
girl, I have no idea. But somehow, some way, somebody put little statements out there. But they wanted to, be upfront and honest and tell their
give
side
the shortest red table talk interview ever.
Yeah, and tell their side of the story, So she decided to bring her own self to the red table for her own healing.
Right.
And
right.
Yeah.
Well, Jada and Will said that they were separated.
Right.
They both felt as though it was indefinite. That's what they said. And it was very interesting. He said he was done with her ass. And he still seems like he might be done with her ass.
He very well might be done.
But she was in such agreement.
Yes.
I think that was telling as well too. But her explanation, it was what, Jada? It was what? What was it, Jada? So, what was that? I mean, the question down and the stare down. When she said, when he kept asking her, well, what was it? She's like, I said.
An entanglement.
I wanted you to say the word so bad.
An entanglement.
Ooh-wee.
Man, I think she should get points for that word.
Yes, she is very persuasive.
That word was she pulled that from.
I googled entanglement last night.
I have never in my life heard anyone refer to a relationship as an entanglement, but I'm going to start using that.
Yes,
that is a great way to describe some of these situations out here.
She's very persuasive.
You are entangled.
We knew.
Twisted up, bounded up, just a big ball of wires. Just a mess.
But we knew she was very persuasive, though. We knew that when she helped Jordan out with her own situation and kissing in Calabasas.
Oh, okay.
So we knew that.
Yeah.
We knew she was about to bring something that we were just looking stupid watching this. Like you said, what now? Like,
right.
Okay.
No, I think they had to do what they had to do. They had to, this is a hot topic going on social media and the news in general, just about what happened. A lot of rumors did circulate during that time period that her and August seemed to be really, really close. And, they never really spoke to it about what type of relationship or entanglement, as she likes to say, that they had. And I think him putting out his interview with Angela Yee, he had to, they were forced almost to respond. And I felt like, in my opinion, Will seemed more annoyed than anything that he had to express, tell all the Black Twitter all their business because, she got involved with somebody that didn't want to be quiet about their relationship.
Right.
And so he just seemed like he was just over it and not being able to,
Yes, you are so right. At a certain point, when all this was happening and it just exploded, he was like, you got to say something.
Right. And I think they come from that era of Hollywood. Their period of fame and being in Hollywood is different than nowadays. Nowadays, celebrities go live every 5 minutes. They're telling every single detail of their life or whatever. And she and their marriage more so, comes from that era when a lot of things were kept private. A lot of things were swept under the rug. They don't have to tell every single thing that goes on into their relationship. But it's just like, this is a new day and age, and the public requires more transparency, more open, honest. They want to know more about everything, and it's like you don't get that privilege just because you're Will and Jada just to sit back and, unfortunately, they should. Everyone should be able to, keep their marriage private as they would like it to be. But it's just, unfortunately, the world we live in now, the people, the masses, the fans that support you, they want more and more and more of you. Right.
They want to know every detail.
They want to know every detail. So, they have to kind of evolve with the times as well. And this is what happens, their long-term situation that they had, so under wraps kind of gets brought up to the light, you know, and people are in their business now, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I feel as though Will is way more aware of public perception than Jada is.
I wouldn't agree on that one.
Okay, why? What don't you agree with?
Because there have been always rumors circulating for years and years and years. Like this is just one incident, but there have been rumors all throughout the years of different speculations on what's going on between their marriage, and he doesn't always speak on everything that comes up. So I feel like if somebody's seeking validation and that perception of being, this power couple or whatever have you to the media, I think they would, do more to clean it up, more to clear up any misconceptions or any rumors that are out there about them. And he doesn't always do that. He lets people think what they want to think and just go on about his that means, okay, so if he's letting them think what they want to think, he ain't that concerned about his public perception, because the public perception has him, people thinking they're in a open marriage, he got somebody, she got somebody, that the kids do these type of things that, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not trying to fight every single rumor.
Right. And I feel as though Will doesn't have to address every rumor and allegation, because they are just that. They're rumors and allegations. And sometimes your explanation to these rumors and allegations can be 10 times worse than the actual event itself. For instance, look at Jay-Z. Jay-Z's to be rumored to have had 10 kids outside of his marriage with Beyonce, but we don't see Jay-Z defending himself to the public. I feel like when you're a really hot celebrity, a really high dollar celebrity, you don't have to deal with certain things. You don't have to address certain things. But back to my original comment, I do feel as though Will is more aware of public perception than Jada is. Let's be real. Will is probably the most known family member in their family. He is the most bankable person in their family. Bad Boys 3 was like the top grossing film last year. And I feel as though when he said, I feel like that husband in the press conferences while you tell the world about your transgressions, like, I love you, baby, I'm going to stand by you no matter what. There was a reason that there's sad face memes, and confessing Jada is not a meme. Jada is now seen as like this PIMP, and Will is seen like as this empathetic man, and he is the aggrieved party. So to me, it just seemed like he wanted Jada to tell it and tell it right. I felt like it was a savvy PR move, for real, for real. Like, he wasn't worried about the red table. He was worried about those blockbuster seats.
Yeah, I think he was speaking on, you got to speak out. You got to speak out by the fact that her latest venture is a show called Red Table Talk, where she brings all these different people on her show.
So you're saying she had to bring herself?
She brings a lot of people on her show, and they have to spill their secrets, and they work through their different issues and their problems on this show, and they're very transparent. That's the brand. The brand is transparency. The brand is no longer being quiet and silent on every issue that comes in. She's in a different realm now. It's just not like she's just this actress where you don't know anything about her. She spoke on her mom's addiction issues on the show. She's like letting us into a part of her life through this show that we never probably were privy to before, because all these years prior to that, only thing we had on Jada and Will is just them being this actress, and then you can just kind of like speculate and figure out what you want to say about them. But now her brand is transparency, it's openness, it's healing, it's being all these therapeutic things.
But how transparent are you when she said that they would have never brought it up if he never spoke about it?
Because I think that the timing. This isn't how can I say this? The climate we're living in, her and August issues and her and August being in a relationship shouldn't be top priority in this current state of the world.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't be the top story. We should still be talking about, black people being gunned down. We should still be talking about other pressing issues. But because this is now taking forefront, they want to probably just go ahead and tackle this head on. And I think he was trying to say, not only speak out on this because you have a platform that's now of therapy and transparency and openness and all these things like that, but also stop using code words. She kept saying the word entanglement to describe a relationship. He wanted her to be right. He wanted her to just go ahead and say what it is. Say it was a relationship. It wasn't all these code words and things like that to like describe what it was. It's out there now. He didn't say what it was. Y'all all are aware of of her being in a relationship with this guy. So she needs to just go on and say what it is at this point. Because this is he kept saying, this is the Red Table Talk. I'm being you now. I'm in the position to interview you now. So I want you to dig it out. If it's hard for you to vocalize that you were in a relationship with this person, and it wasn't just, this fling or whatever it wasn't an entanglement. It was a relationship. He was devoted to you and you were devoted to him.
I applaud Will for pushing her to use real words that really have meaning.
I think she chose the word entanglement, if I can just guess, is because it wasn't like a clear relationship where I was with you, you didn't have nobody else, and you was with me, because it was a mix. It was kind of like a messy relationship. There were a lot of different people involved. It was a lot of different, factors involved in it. So maybe that's why she chose that word, because it seemed to be fitting at the time. But it's like, come on, cut the crap. Like we know what it was. It might have been messy, but it was still a relationship nonetheless. And it, was something that you were involved in for quite a few years. And, now that it's over with, you got to just, now that it's brought to the light and you have to speak on it, you just got to say what it is.
Right. That's a great point. And if you noticed, Jada did not want to place blame on August at all. Like, she did not want him to be known like as a side dude, a homewrecker, or whatever have you. But she made sure to have this theme, her and Will definitely had this theme of being amicably separated, which was kind of confusing because like it was like they didn't have like hatred or they weren't upset with each other. It was confusing to me. It was like, do they do this like Monday, Wednesday, Friday? What? Like, I don't get it.
I think it was just real. Like it might not be the cleanest situation or whatever, but it's real life and it happens. And it's unfortunate that he was kind of a casualty of war in a sense, but
who was a casualty of war?
That August, got so hurt from the situation. His, emotions and feelings was hurt so bad.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you brought that up about someone's feelings being hurt, because I could see how Will may have felt that he was disrespected, because in a private conversation that he had with August said that he who is Will gave him his blessing to start a relationship with his wife. So when you make private conversations public like that, he is now saying, yes, I've told this guy, I've given him my blessing, he can smash her, and now you've told the world that you've had relations with my wife. I think that can somewhat come off as disrespect.
They were in such a bad state in their marriage that he probably felt like if August is the one to make her happy, then he was okay with it. He was okay because at that point he didn't want to be with her. He didn't want to talk to her no more or anything like that. So it was just like, hey, take her off my hands kind of thing, maybe. I don't know exactly how he felt, but maybe that was his standpoint of, take her off my hands. But as far as like, making a private conversation public, I think if she never
well, she said in the interview that and I could tell with her body language that she said that she is the only one that could give permission for that to happen.
Right.
And she felt,
and that's true.
And it's true. But I think that in itself could perceive itself as a little disrespectful to what was going on in the situation. I'm not saying that he meant to disrespect him. I'm saying I could see where someone may have felt disrespected in that instance.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about him entering his life as a mentor in a way, and their relationship progressing and transitioning into a romantic one?
I feel that it's very interesting how I feel like the theme of this is that there is no boundaries because no one knows what their roles were to begin with. First, you start off to being a family friend, then you're a mentor, mentee, then you're a gardener, plumber. I mean, the roles are so endless, it seems like, in their lives, that he could have picked up any kind of role and she would have gave it to him. And I don't really understand that. And I think that definitely when you don't have defined roles in someone's life, if your role is not defined, then yeah, you can definitely cross boundaries that shouldn't have been crossed, for sure.
In my opinion, I differ a little bit with you on that. But
okay, tell me.
I think that Jada isn't a licensed therapist. She isn't a psychiatrist. She doesn't have.
Oh, here we go. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, like seriously, she's not somebody that's, where the boundaries have to be so rigid and strict to where they can't evolve into something else. Because had she been his teacher or had she been his psychiatrist, therapist, any of those things like that, yeah, like there is a boundary there, you shouldn't cross it, whatever. But no, she's just somebody that was just as broken, has just as many issues, and she entered into his life, and she did help him. From what he stated and from what they stated, it was originally somebody to help him along his journey for his health goals, giving him the resources, connecting him with certain doctors and things like that. So I think that was a benefit of, their relationship. But because she entered into his life in that format, I don't think that it's just so set in stone that it couldn't have evolved into something more. Because like I said, she doesn't have, it wasn't a professional relationship. It was a friendship. It was a bond. It was just something, platonic in the beginning, and then it just evolved over time, and that's what it was.
That's where you lose me, Raul. That's where you lose me, because I just don't understand how you can be in a platonic friendship and then you move to kissing cousins. I just don't understand that. And to the point about Jada being a licensed professional, I understand that Jada is not a licensed professional. It is clear that Jada is not a licensed professional. She may not even be a professional in some people's eyes at this very moment. So I will say that she holds a certification. All in all, I look at the whole situation sideways, because she promoted August as this family friend. She promoted it as, or their relationship as, her helping him, healing him, helping with his recovery and his health and his growth. And then boom, he's banging your back out. That's a very dangerous line to cross. Okay, classmates, I think this is a perfect time to take a quick break before the conversation turns a little bit more spicy and we turn the vibes all the way up. But don't blame us. We are a passionate pair of queens from Houston, Texas. Yes, the H. We love it here. Houston is a great city to invest in. It's one of the fastest growing and most diverse places in the country. There are several industries that keep our city moving and shaking. The time is now. It's time to invest in residential or commercial properties. You don't have to reside in Houston, Texas to take advantage of what we have to offer. Just make sure that you hit up a friend to the class and top realtor in the city, Leslie Christina. For more information, make sure you check her out on Instagram at LeslieChristina_real estate or hit her up at 281-866-1028. That's 281-866-1028. And let her know we sent you. Okay, now back to our lesson.
Well, I mean, I think that's only human nature. I mean, we can't.
You think that it's human nature?
I don't think we can hold Jada to these super high standards that she can be around a guy for hours and hours and days and days.
Oh my gosh. There's millions of guys out there.
No, if you hanging around somebody on a day in and day out basis
and you can't control yourself,
and you are not in a good relationship and you and your husband are not in a good space in y'all marriage,
that's
it is
pathetic.
Only human nature for eventually something's going to happen.
That's pathetic.
It's not pathetic. It's real life.
No.
People do it every day.
No, people do not do that every day. And no, that is not real life. What you're describing is a show called Survivor. You're making it seem as though it was Jada and August on this deserted island and they can only have each other. If Jada were to take out an ad right now on Craigslist, she would have millions upon millions of prospects. It's strange to me that she decided to choose the man that she nursed back to health to have such an entanglement with. It is strange to me.
This guy came into her life and brought her a sense of joy and peace that she hasn't experienced in years. She said she hadn't been happy in years.
I'm saying that Jada is a willing participant. She should be held accountable. And August is a willing participant and he should be held accountable. I think that those two roles, those two people should have never have crossed paths in such a way where it makes it so complicated to where now things are so messy. Why can't people, men and women, just remain friends and keep it on that level? Just because you spend hours upon hours with somebody doesn't mean that you have to look at them sexually. Doesn't mean that you have to have a romantic relationship. Well, sometimes there are men and women that have platonic relationships that do not involve sex, does not involve anything, but I can still have the same type of love for that man if I were like my brother or my cousin or my father. Sometimes you do not need to extend those boundaries, extend those roles into something that could not only hurt you in the long run, but in the moment.
I'm thinking, from my perspective, I see her as a woman, and women have needs. Sorry, she can't just play pity pat and be best friends with the boy all day long.
Okay.
And that if you ain't been pleased sexually for years and years, or whatever, you haven't had a romantic somebody touch you romantically or whatever, you may desire that, and that's okay. People have those feelings and emotions too. It's not just all about just bonding with somebody on a mental level. Sometimes people want to be pleased in other ways as well, and it's okay. It's okay. It's fine because we are human beings, and we have sexual we have sexual experiences and desires as well. And she's not no ugly woman or somebody that doesn't probably have any feelings or emotions at all. She probably still desires to be wanted and appreciated. And if her husband, who made up in his mind that they don't see each other, they don't see themselves being together anymore, and that he gave his okay for that, then that's fine. Because at that moment in time, it's not like he's going behind Will's back and sleeping with his wife. Will seemed to be aware. They said they don't keep secrets. Will was aware that these things were happening, and he probably was doing his own stuff too on the side. So it's not like she's just this bad person because she crossed the boundary and she went, made the relationship one from a friendship to a romantic relationship. It is almost unrealistic to think that somebody is going to be hanging out with a person day in, day out.
That's not unrealistic.
It is unrealistic
No,
to think
it's
that it is unrealistic because you're not going to sit there and hang out with a guy that you may find attractive, somebody that he probably worshiped the ground she walked on, made her feel so great, made her feel so good, and it's just only natural that it led to something more romantic building. It built into something more romantic in the process. So I do believe that it's unrealistic to think that people are just going to be sitting around playing pity pat all day with a person that they find attractive, or they're going to just be playing video games. No, it's going to eventually lead to something more. You start building a bond with somebody on a mental level and on an emotional level, it's only a matter of time before it transitions into something more physical.
You can make a bad decision. We all are imperfectly flawed human beings. I can agree with that, but I'm not trying to cast judgment, but I'm saying that those decisions that are made based on how you feel in the moment should be well thought out. There are some decisions that you make that will forever change your life and the life of other people. So no, I cannot tell people to base decisions off solely how they feel, how it makes you feel. No, use your brain. That's what it's for. Use it. And I want to bring up the point that Jada said that she was a fixer. She likes to help people. Jada is self-proclaimed a broken individual. So my question to you is, when did two broken individuals come together and fix each other where they were lacking?
Every day.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Most people are lacking and not completely whole and made
Healing
up.
and growth is a solo project. Healing and growth is a solo project.
I agree, but that doesn't mean
seeking salvation is a solo project. That's an individual course. Healing is an individual course. Those are all individual courses. So remember, the person that broke you will never be the one to fix you, and the person that fixed you was probably the person that broke you. Remember that. Remember it.
I think that Will and Jada have come to an agreement that both works for them in their relationship. Mm-hmm. And you spoke on, that healing and salvation is your own personal journey. And I do agree with that. I do agree that you do have to, find peace and all these things within yourself and happiness. And she realized that, after the fact, that she can't seek, happiness from anywhere else but within. But at the same time, although you do a lot of self-growth and self-work, we're never perfected, if that makes sense. Like, we're always going to be a work in progress.
True.
And just because we're works in progress, do that mean we are undeserving of love and companionship as well? It's just not. It's okay for two broken people to be together because we're all broken in some part of our life. I don't think you're gonna just meet the perfect person and have all his ducks in a row and you're going to be having all your ducks in a row. There's going to be, even in the most ideal and greatest relationships, there's still going to be some issues that you're going to have to face, and those can be personal issues as well as issues entangling with somebody
intertwined.
else, being intertwined with someone else.
Right.
It just comes to the surface after you been with a person or whatever. And so I think that's one thing. And also to put her on, I think the problem is people have put her on such a high pedestal that as if she's not a human being, and she doesn't deserve the same grace that we're giving August. If August is so broken and so, have all these issues or whatever, she might very well be the same way. It's just not publicized. It's just not, we don't know every single detail of her life's journey as well. So she could be very much broken and deserving of grace. And I feel like they met each other in a point in time where they needed each other. He needed help, and she also probably needed help, and so that's how the relationship formed. And I don't think that it's just this, you can't ever make a bad decision, or you can't ever, make you have to think through every single decision in your life, because there are some points in time, I'll be honest, I don't know, I haven't always made the best decision or whatever looking back. Of course not. I mean, you are flawed, you are human beings, and I'm not saying it as an excuse, but I'm saying that at some points in time, you're not always going to make a thorough, thought out decision. You're just gonna move off of flesh. You're gonna move off of what feels good at the moment or whatever. Is it right? No. But hey, does it happen? Yes, it's real life, and it happens all the time. And I know you might be thinking, I'm saying, oh, it's real life, but it is. It's things that people deal with and things that people face. And I think that social media has given people this false perception that that marriage ain't nothing but professional Instagram pictures and matching king and queen t-shirts. No, it's some real highs and some real lows you're gonna have to deal with when you be with somebody, and sometimes infidelity is one of those lows, unfortunately, and it happens in a lot of relationships. People have flings, people separate, think they're not gonna get back together, and then they realize, maybe this marriage is worth fighting for, or maybe this marriage isn't worth it, or I'm not happy here and I want to move on with my life. And that's a common thing that occurs. So I think that if we're going to extend the same grace, we need to extend it to both August and Jada. They both are deserving of it. And it's not that she was just preying on him. I don't think she sought after, she didn't seek him to cause harm or to cause, pain in his life or whatever. I think the original intentions were to, be a source of help to him, as well as, help him along his journey. And in some way along the way, they didn't make the best decision to get involved, but they did. And it wasn't, I can see if he felt one type of way, but he still speaks highly of her. He still speaks highly of this lady. If she hurt him so bad, yeah, heartbreak is gonna hit you regardless. If you ever been in love with a person or whatever, but it's just like that love he had for her, it surpassed it. Like it was deeper than that. It was a different bond he shared with her. And if he can say after all that if his life ended or if he didn't love again, that he's experienced a real love with this woman, like maybe it was meant to happen that way.
I think that when people's energy is set on you, good or bad, you feel that. I'll say that. But it is true that you can't heal what you don't reveal. But I do think that when you are put in a position, you have to think through decisions. Flesh is very weak, but guess what? If you are in a situation where you are having unprotected sex with a woman and get her pregnant, and this woman you've only known for 2 hours in the club and now is carrying your child, that is a decision and a consequence that you will have to deal with for the rest of your life. Yes, flesh is weak, but get thicker flesh. That's what I'm gonna tell you. I have a question. When people say that they're separated, I think that when someone says that they're separated in a marriage, it equates to when you take a break in a relationship. It means nothing. You are still either in the relationship or you are broken up. Pick a side. The gray is what gets people confused. Pick a side. We are leading to divorce or we are leading to stay together. And I think that when you make those, the theme for me, y'all, is boundaries and roles. Yeah. Boundaries and roles. When you really... I
think you say that with so much confidence, but I don't think it's as clear and as black and white as that.
But I think that
I don't think it's that black and white.
But I think that Will and Jada definitely had their boundaries and their roles set up, but they didn't include August in it. And that's where it gets messy. If you don't include, if you want to have an open marriage, I can care less. Be as open as you would like. Invite whomever. But how was August not included in that when
that they supposedly had a discussion. Him and Will had a discussion on it.
But exactly. August said it himself. When you forgive yourself, you don't create forgiveness for others. He was very hurt by the decisions that she made to go back to Will. And that is a decision that she made, I think, knowingly. Because in her previous interviews, she said, I didn't care if Will was on one side of the house with somebody else, and I didn't care if I was on the other side of the house with somebody else. And what did Jada's mother say? I thought that was ridiculous. When you're in a relationship with someone and they cut all ties with you and make a video about the text messages that y'all are exchanging,
It's true.
that means something didn't go as well in the thought out plan.
Right.
That you may have thought that this course was going to go on. Something may have happened where the translation was missed.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
True, I understand it. I'm saying I don't think it was, all of a sudden she stopped talking to him in one day. I think she probably...
No, he stopped talking to her.
Okay, well, stop talking to her in one day. I think maybe that's how they stopped talking, because they had a discussion and she let him know what it was. She let him know the real on what's going on with the situation between her and her husband. So if you enter into a relationship like that, and it's always a possibility that the person is going to go back to their husband or their wife.
Oh, thank you. I'm thankfully you said that. Thank you.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you go into relationships like that. Like,
thank you. Yes.
That's a possibility.
To all these young sisses out here, we need to be very clear. Don't sit there and think that because he's married, he's going to leave you for his wife.
Right. But I think I just don't like all the blame and all the, she's the wiser one, she's the older one or whatever. Yeah, she's older, but just because you're just because you're older than somebody doesn't make you, have it all figured out, have everything figured out in life. You still
That's true.
Got a lot of mistakes left in you. You're still going to make poor choices and decisions. Hopefully you're not making the same poor choices and decisions, that you may have made in your younger years. But just to equate the fact that she's an older individual to the fact that equate that to her being all knowing, all powerful, that she can do no wrong. Like, no, like this lady's, yes, she's older than him, but also she can still be very well likely to make mistakes. I mean, people make mistakes until the day that they die or whatever. And I also wanted to say on that is that piggying back on the desires and wanting to feel good in the moment. If you haven't felt good, maybe this guy was bringing back, emotions and stuff that she hadn't experienced in a long time or whatever. I think even though August was sick, or, maybe he was on the brink of, wellness at this point when they this finally got together or whatever, I think that men, the way that they were built, they could be on their dying bed.
Oh my gosh, here she goes. Oh my God. And shit, what?
They could be on their dying bed.
Uh-huh.
Or they could be sick as a dog, but if they get an opportunity to do anything, they're still going to do it. So I don't think
missed opportunities.
No missed opportunities. I think
right.
even
That's a fact.
Even in sickness, they still have certain, yes. Even in sicknesses, they still have certain desires, and they want to do things. Especially if it's a woman that they find attractive.
I agree. Yeah.
So I don't think that it's just so like, oh, he's just this weak wimpy. I can't move.
True.
No,
That's
like
a fact.
he probably still. And I'm not even talking completely sexual. I mean, like he might have still wanted to just kiss her or hold her hand, or what I'm saying, like, do anything to feel intimate and close to somebody that they love, And so I think that
well, it's true. That's very true. You know why? Because Will said he retired his role in one interview that I watched of him. He's like, he's no longer wanted to make Jada happy. You can do whatever to make you happy. Anything you need to make you happy, go do that. Right. And then bring your ass back home. Mm-hmm. And that was their arrangement. But I don't think that, and that's why I think maybe some people, if you can think of it like that, some people may have felt that they both were on the same accord and August was on the outs. But you're right. Even on their deathbed, They will find a way.
They will find a way.
When there is a will, there is a way.
Yes. Say that again.
Say it with me. When there is a will, there is a way.
Big Willie style. Yes. Come on.
For real.
They're going to make it work. But
no, I think that the one thing is that when people say, well, divorce isn't easy, and marriage isn't easy. That's true. But I've never been married. I do have friends that have been married. And I would advise them too. I know that this isn't an easy situation to stay in a marriage, and it's probably not an easy situation to be divorced, but no one is trapped to take a vow of marriage.
People celebrate these golden anniversaries. Grandma and grandpa was together for together 50, 60 years or whatever, and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't talked about that grandpa had a whole family on the other side of town.
True.
It wasn't discussed that, grandma might have been getting whooped in the marriage or whatever. Like, don't just think that people get to these long-term marriages without any bruises and scars along the way. They may have had a whole 15, 20 years of everything being peaches and cream, but they also may have another 10 years of straight hell, or I didn't kill this man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And maybe the issue ain't exactly Will and Jada's issue, but you're gonna deal with an issue if you decide to stick with a person, for the long haul. If you decide to stick with anybody for the long haul, you're gonna have to deal with some stuff that you may not just be wanting to deal with. It's not going to be rainbows and unicorns the whole way.
True.
It's gonna be some real stuff happening, and real stuff sometimes is cheating. Real stuff sometimes is financial problems. Real stuff sometimes is y'all get dead broke together. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the chance you take when you I don't think people give marriage enough credit.
Absolutely. I agree.
They glamorize it on social media like it's just these matching outfits and picnics in the park. You know what I'm saying? And king and queen, he's my king, she's my queen, t-shirts.
Right.
Like, no, that is not the meat and gravy. And I'm not even speaking on as from a perspective of somebody that's been married, but just seeing long-term marriages and stuff like that, and having family members that are open and honest enough with me to give me the real, and not to fill me up with lies on the with rose-colored glasses on, just to go in something thinking it's going to be one way and it might not be that way.
Life partnership, marriage, I think that it is all one to me, because in marriage you find your life partner. Your life partner is going to go to the bounds of this earth to make sure that you are okay. They might not make you happy all the time.
Facts.
But they will make sure you're okay.
Right.
And I think that is what makes marriage a beautiful thing. Well, that's what we were taught. And that's what I want. I want to be able to find my life partner. I want to be able to find someone that will go to the bounds of this earth to make sure that I'm good. And they both admitted too that they had to destroy the term marriage.
Right. I think because the term marriage is sometimes just so traditional.
Ooh,
it's like
expectations.
It's those expectations of like, okay, you're the wife, so you're gonna cook, you're gonna clean, you're gonna raise the kids,
right.
So you're gonna go out to work, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, like those terms or whatever. And it's like, it's deeper than that. It ain't just cooking and cleaning and raising kids or whatever. It's deeper than that. And I think as the time goes by, as years go by, the transitions you make along the way, kind of define what a marriage is, more so to me than just, you sticking to these certain roles or whatever. That's a part, maybe the roles are a part of it, but I think like those transitions of being able to still grow in love with a person that maybe you met them at one point in life when they were this type of person, and as time goes on, they evolve into another person, and you're still able to grow in love with that. And then maybe you're, maybe it's not always just romance that's there. Maybe at this point, we just friends.
Right.
At this point, we're just like, we just cool, and this my homie kind of thing like that. Or at this point, it's just like we're roommates. we just stay in the same under the same roof.
That's true. Yeah, that's facts. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's like it's different transitions, and then we got our spark back. Okay,
right,
we're back in love again.
So it's that in between that time that you got to stay with it. Hold the course.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. You know that Will said that I think that this was telling too about when you talk about expectations in a marriage. The hardest time that Will and Jada said was the hardest or the most pivotal moment in their marriage was when Jada's 40th birthday, and she had been feeling like she was going through like this life crisis or something like that. And Will may have presented her with the most beautiful gifts, the most lavish trips, a beautiful home, but she didn't want anything that he purchased or built.
Yeah, I remember that.
She said she felt like she was in a golden cage. That woman felt trapped.
Right.
And what was the lesson in that?
Hey.
She needed to be free.
She needs to be free.
And thus moving forward to whatever they define their relationship as. Open, life partnership. There you have it, man.
It's just so funny that it's like, it's so profound and so many dissertations about their marriage being put out there or whatever. It's just like, y'all know this has been going on for centuries. Like, people have been dealing like in these kind of relationships. I mean, it's just the titles change over time, but it's not anything new. It's not anything, groundbreaking or, just this innovative, revolutionary thing that they're doing. Like, no, they're just going through the same problems and same kind of situations so many couples have gone through over the years. And it's just like,
yeah, and divorce wasn't an option for them.
Marriage is more so going to hell and back with a person. I'm not advocating toxic relationships or anything, but it's the truth. It's sometimes you have to go to hell and back with the person that you're with.
Say it again. Yeah.
And you don't get to choose the hell that you go through.
That's so true. Divorce is not an option for them.
The divorce is not an option. That means you're going to have to go through some stuff. And no matter what you go through, no matter what it is, how painful it is, how bad it is, if you move away, if y'all live in separate homes, if you do whatever, but you're going to eventually come back to one another and work through it. That's if you really just value marriage in such a, if you value marriage in that sense where divorce is an option, you will go through all that. There's some people who say, life is too short. I'm not going to deal with this. If somebody's not making me happy, I'll move on or whatever. And I don't think it's anything wrong with that either. Like you kind of define your own life or how you want things to go. You make those decisions to, you don't make every decision, but I'm saying like you kind of orchestrate in a little bit how you want your life to go. And so if you want it to be one way and that way is divorce is not an option, then you're going to stick through it. But if you don't care about longevity in a marriage, your ultimate goal is just to be happy in life and to be and my husband's not making me happy or my wife's not making me happy, then I'm going to do whatever it is that brings me peace and joy. Cause we only have so much time here on this earth. That's fine too. I don't knock anybody that's decided to do the latter and to say they don't want to stick around in an unhappy marriage or whatever. Just because that was their decision and that was their take on it. That's what works for them. That's how they wanted to do it. That's how they want to play it. Right. Everybody's marriage is unique and different and tailored specifically to them.
When I think about Will and Jada, they were separated, whatever that means to them. But to August, I feel that he, like I keep saying, he didn't know what his role was. But his role was to be a side dude. And he failed at that. Because side dudes say nothing, see nothing, do nothing, hear nothing. They don't even answer private calls. They hold secrets to the end. They know how to hold water. And I think that he failed miserably if that was the role that he was supposed to play.
Yeah. She probably should have
chose a different
side, dude.
Yes.
And she would have been they wouldn't be airing their dirty laundry right now.
True. We wouldn't be here right now.
It's so many celebrity marriages that got you know, side dudes and side chicks along the way, but you know, they keep quiet. They don't they don't say much. They know they roll, and you know, they take their money and go on about their day. But you know, he is in a very transparent, open state of mind right now, where everything is, let me just let it out. Let me just be honest and open about everything. Nothing's off limits, you know? So that's kind of where his mindset is at or whatever. And he's entitled to have that. If that brings him a sense of
absolutely,
peace
I agree,
and calm and keeping him from being sick, you know,
for real.
He's entitled to have that as well, you know, but, you know, maybe Jada, if something else happened along the way, maybe she just be a little more careful on who she decides to be with, you know?
I agree.
You know, I don't know who entertained who first, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
like, he could have very well triggered this whole thing off, and she could have tried to stop his advances, and to the point where she got weak in the knees, child, where she could hardly speak. Lost all control.
All right. Okay, well, we know that.
Yeah.
We know that. Do you think that at any time Jada has lost her popularity? Like, has it decreased in any way?
I don't think so. I think she still has a lot of fans, a lot of supporters out
Right.
there. And sometimes, like, I think those celebrities in that era who are so used to being super private and not disclosing a lot of details of their life, I think that they get more respect, or they get more, you know, they reach another level of connecting with their fans and their supporters when they can be relatable, when they can be a real person. They can share real trials and triumphs and overcoming it in their life. For instance, Beyonce, you know,
I was just about to say that, Ron. Yeah.
The
We
elevator
would have never
scene,
known.
the
right.
Lemonade scene. I mean, the Lemonade album. You know, people have speculated that Jay-Z had cheated on her or whatever, but for her to come out and acknowledge that, man, her marriage was on the rocks too.
Yeah.
And that she was thinking about leaving him as well. You know, it's like that idolization that people have oftentimes for celebrities needs to go away. But that's another topic for another day. That needs to go away, but also just to see them in another light, to see that they face the same type of issues everybody else. Beyonce's one of the most beautiful women in the world. She's talented. She's an amazing performer, whatever. And she got cheated on.
Yeah.
You know, even she had to deal with infidelity in her marriage. You know,
Right.
It's like she don't live in she doesn't live in this world where things don't happen to her.
But we never saw Becky.
We never saw Becky.
Okay.
We never saw Becky.
Right.
But outside of like just the cheating and all that kind of stuff like that, I think just when celebrities do allow, I don't want to know every single detail of their life, but when they do kind of like open up the doors and peel back the blinds in their own lives, I think it's so good. I remember watching her documentary when she was preparing.
Documentary?
When I was watching Beyonce's documentary as she was preparing for her Coachella performance, and she was basically showing the journey of how things were, like, you know, post kids, like how her pregnancy was so rough, and then trying to lose the weight and trying to get it back out there. She thought she would never perform again at one point because it was so hard for her to get back into the groove of performing and exercising and working out, because she went through such a rough pregnancy. You know, she dealt with preeclampsia. She dealt with hypertension. You know, all these different issues in her pregnancy, and she needed to tell that because somebody out there needed to see that. Hey, Beyonce is dealing with the same issue. Some pregnant woman out there who's thinking she's by herself, thinking she's alone, and know that, okay, there's a celebrity out there who's at the top of her craft, at the top of her game, and even she deals with these issues or whatever. It's like, you know it, right? You know that they deal with things, but for them to vocalize it and for them to put a name to it, it just takes it up to another level. And I kind of admire that in them, you know, just to be open and honest and be vulnerable enough to share their stories.
Right. Do you think that Will and Jada may have had the knowledge or forthcoming that not only was the album rolling out, but these questions were going to be asked? So months prior to, they've had multiple sit downs. I know we're on quarantine and it's just them two and the kids and the grandma and everybody in that house. But do you think that they had foreseen this coming because they had done a lot more one-on-ones than I felt like they had done previously?
That's a good take. By them saying that they don't communicate with him anymore, I don't think that they probably knew his album was about to come out.
Well, the Illuminati told them.
I mean, they could have known, but I don't personally think they had known unless, you know, she's sneaking and texting him or something like that.
Let's talk about that real quick. Do you think that was true? I think that was full of lies. The way Jada put it out, like, I don't talk to him, I don't text him, I don't do nothing, I don't see him, I lost his number, I put him on block, he don't even follow me on Instagram, no Twitter.
Right,
like,
right.
The way she said that, did she want to make it clear? How did you feel about that?
I think she was telling the truth. I think she was just trying to make it known to her husband, who probably already feels like, oh Lord, why are we even talking about this situation? Like, don't worry, I ain't been talking to him. I ain't doing nothing. Blah blah blah. You know, because it's just like it don't seem to be a hate there for him. It's not like even though they didn't end on the best of terms, I don't feel like there was any hate on her end or hate on his end. It's just like it just didn't work out. So but yeah, I don't think
it didn't work out because she was married.
Yeah, that was a big part of why it didn't work out. But yeah, no, I think I don't think they knew his album was coming out, but they have been in the industry way longer than August has. So
exactly.
They are
the Smiths.
They are the Smiths. They've been in Hollywood. They've been in they've been top actresses and actors for a long time. You know, they've held their spot for a long time. Will just starting recently to kind of like, you know, not being in as many movies,
right?
Yeah, these days. But like they held the top spot for a long time.
Very
and with
long.
that comes a lot of PR training, a lot of, you know.
Will said, put some respect on my name.
Yeah, so it's a lot of that goes into play too. But no, I don't think he knew. But I think that if they are as open and honest as they portray on Red Table Talk, then I'm sure. And I think they have to be, in a sense, because for them to overcome so many hurdles in a marriage, I think they have to be really good at communicating, really good at talking through things. So I think, yeah, like the quarantine may have forced them to sit down more than normal to talk. But I think that they probably talked and worked through it, and we just seeing the aftermath of, you know, something that they've already worked. That's why they was giggling and laughing, because this is like, okay, well, I guess we got to talk about this kind of thing.
Yeah, she's already on boyfriend number 2.
Yeah, it's not so fresh to where she's, you know, so hurt about it anymore, or he's so hurt about it anymore. It's just like, you know, unfortunately, we got to tell the world something that happened, you know, in our marriage, but you know, it happened. We moved on, and we past it kind of situation.
Right.
I think that's kind of the standpoint they were coming at.
Right. Mm-hmm. And isn't that so interesting that when you're in a relationship with someone, right, and it is between you and that person, as long as you and that person move past it, nothing else matters.
Right, right.
And you can put up this strong front because nothing else matters. Not even you, August.
Yep.
So, okay, let's just give our, I guess, final takes, final lessons, final gems you want to give the classmates on your perspective, Queen.
My final take of it is I just saw a lot of maturity on both ends. August portrayed in his interview to be someone that's really evolved and has really grown over the time since that situation happened. Like, everything. It was just, that was one piece of his story. That wasn't his whole story of his life. And his story is still being written to this day. But I feel like that was something that he really grew from. That was a situation that taught him a lot, and he learned a lot from it. And I think vice versa for Will and Jada, that they learned a lot as well regarding their marriage in that situation. So I just wish both parties well, that they find peace
Right.
and that they can move forward in their life. I don't feel like there was, any bad blood or hatred at the end of the day between them, which is good because, even though people, go their separate ways sometimes, it doesn't always have to be bad and ugly and this, horrible thing.
Yeah.
And, he's a villain or she's a villain. Like, no, they were just two people that fell for each other in a period of time in their lives or whatever. They crossed paths, and they crossed paths along the journey of their life, and they taught each other something. Maybe they were in each other's lives to teach each other a lesson. And so that's what I got from both the interview and also the Red Table Talk with Will and Jada.
All right. That sounds good. Are you going?
What about you?
Because mine's gonna be a little lengthy.
Yes.
Where was the NDA? Because August should have signed an NDA. Period. That's how you know she was in love. She done missed the first step. I'm going back to my theme.
Okay.
My theme is boundaries. My theme is knowing your role and playing your position. Roles are really important. Marriage should still be held at the highest standard. You take a oath to your husband or your wife. You should honor your husband and you should honor your wife. She may have committed adultery, but even the worst offender in a long line of sinners can be saved.
Amen. Yes.
Okay, so since we are really two queens with two perspectives, we will have a dual homework assignment. You have two homework assignments. My homework assignment from Mishi, your girl, is to tell us what your perspective and outlook on marriage is. I would love to know, what is your outlook on marriage?
Right.
Who do you side with, if you side with anybody? What's their homework from you?
Yes. So my homework for them this week is to use entanglement 10 times in a sentence. Give me 10 sentences using the word entanglement, and make it real for me. But on top of that,
all right, with the Future quote.
Okay. Shout out to Future. Okay. But on top of that, if you want extra credit, let us know, what is your take on the perspective. We we got very passionate about this topic, as you can see.
Passionate. So, but I got so much love for you, baby.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I want to hear y'all perspectives. Let us know in the comments what you think, or what was your takeaway from the episode of the interview and the Red Table Talk. So I want to hear everyone's perspectives on the matter.
We want to know.
And that'll be it for this week. I'll see y'all next time in class on Levin Hall Podcast.
We ride together, we die together. Levin Hall for life.